Compassion and self-compassion are foundational to our well-being. Whether we're looking at it through a mindfulness framework, the great wisdom traditions, a mental health model, or a medical model, regardless, compassion and self-compassion, the importance of feeling connected and being able to take care of ourselves, stay connected with ourselves. We learned a lot about the importance of positive emotions in Barbara Fredrickson's talk a few weeks ago, and I know many of you heard that. Several of you had great questions and comments and participation, so that was nice to see. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be exploring self-compassion over several sessions. It occurred to me this morning as I reread that comment, that self-compassion is like an acquired taste. It's not one of those things that necessarily we find easy to take in. It's not something that just naturally resonates with us. So this morning I was doing, as an example of this, I was doing a little practice. And I was saying, may I feel safe and free from harm. And that felt okay. And then I was thinking about Kay. And Kay has a dental procedure coming up next week that she's a little concerned about. And I said, may Kay feel safe and free from harm. And the internal feeling for me was completely different. It was neutral when I commented on myself. And there was a warmth and a caring and a connecting when I said the words for Kay. And I thought, this is such a great example of how this is an acquired taste, of what a challenge this is. So this morning we'll begin with a practice, then I'll make some comments, and we'll have our reflection question and our breakout groups, and then some conversation about it. So here we go with the practice. So settling in, following your own routine, protocol for settling into a meditation, allowing our attention to gather in this place. Feeling the surface we're sitting on. Feeling the support of that surface that allows us to settle and soften and be at ease. Noticing how our breathing shows up in our bodies. Breathing in, breathing out. And now turning our attention to a recent experience in which you struggled. You were dealing with a difficult situation. It was hard. Something difficult, but not too difficult. Not huge, not overwhelming, but still difficult. And taking a few moments to recall the specifics. Where was this happening? who was present, what was being said or done. Putting yourself back in those moments of difficulty, of struggle. And focusing your attention on the experience of the struggle. Recognizing this is a struggle. This is hard. This is difficult. There's some dissatisfaction, discomfort here. And allowing your experience to be fully present with the discomfort. Noticing any inclination to resist or sidestep the struggle, the experience of the struggle. Fully allowing it. Accepting the reality of the struggle. This is how it is. And now recalling that at one time or another, everyone struggles. Everyone is in a place of dissatisfaction. Connecting to the common humanity of struggling in life. Being careful or being aware of any inclination to judge whether your struggle is less or more than anybody else's. We all struggle. We all have difficulty, and ours is ours. It is as it is. It's not about comparing it or rating it. It's the willingness to be with and accept it for just what it is. And now offering yourself some kindness, saying, this is hard. This is difficult. I'm offering myself some care and kindness. Perhaps you might recall words that you would offer to a close friend who's struggling, and say those words to yourself. Noticing any inclination to fix, analyze, resolve. In this moment, we're just being with, allowing and accepting. And taking care of ourselves. Feeling our own kindness and caring. And letting go of this experience and taking your attention back to your breathing. feeling the in-breath, feeling the out-breath. Holding your attention internally for another few moments, noticing what's going on inside you at this moment. So a few comments about self-compassion. And beginning, as I'm always inclined to do, with a little framework for how we will explore self-compassion and over the next several sessions. And we'll keep coming back to this framework, which is one that we're all familiar with. And of course, it begins with life is hard. Life is impermanent. Everything changes. We all get old. We all get sick. We all die. And everyone we love does as well. Life is not perfect. It's hard. There's discomfort. There's that disconnection or misalignment between the wheel and the axle. We keep getting jolted in life. And life is not personal. We're inclined to take things personally. The reality is the universe doesn't give a damn. It's 14 billion years old. We're a nit. So not only is life hard, but the second part of this framework is that our inclination is to make life harder. Our inclination to approach that which is beneficial and avoid that which is harmful often turn into craving and fear, fueled by the four conditions of being human beyond our control, how our brains have evolved over millions of years, our genetic composition, our conditioning when we were young, our social and cultural norms. All of those come together to make life harder. Our opportunity is to not make life harder. Perhaps even, instead of degrading, evolving. And one approach to not making life harder is the combination of applying mindfulness, awareness, and compassion. So on the one hand, we have mindfulness, and on the other hand, we have compassion. Mindfulness, awareness, is simply about seeing clearly the 3 Ps, the 4 Cs, and the 5 Es, the 5 ways that we are enough. We have the capacities to protect ourselves, to connect, to self-regulate, to learn, and to be aware. Mindfulness, awareness is about seeing clearly the realities of how life is right in front of us. And the second component, compassion. Compassion is love that responds to suffering, whether we see it with somebody else or we're noticing it within ourselves. And we respond in a way that is about alleviating suffering skillfully, without getting lost in self-pity, without getting lost in trying to fix and control things. Compassion is grounded in loving kindness, which is love that connects, without attachment, unconditionally. And the positive emotions that Barbara Fredrickson talked about are the building blocks of that love. Joy, gratitude, generosity. So self-compassion is about our capacity to respond when we are struggling. The term most often associated with compassion and self-compassion is suffering, which is how the ancient word dukkha is typically translated. But I really enjoyed reading this material from Tara Brach, in which she goes on to elaborate about how we can think about alternative ways we can think about dukkha other than this word suffering, which carries so much baggage in our culture. Emotional pain, stress, dissatisfaction, anxiety, sorrow, frustration, unease, feeling out of balance, jolting through life uncomfortably, feeling broken or off, disconnected, not belonging, caught in the grip of fear, feeling alone, lonely, unsafe, simply feeling that something is wrong. These are all examples of experiences that to one degree or another we've all had, that everybody has. These are dukkha, and it's how life is. And resisting it, denying it, is not skillful, because that disconnects us from ourselves, from our own experiences. Instead, self-compassion is what connects us, is what leaves us in a place of being able to find that space where we can be skillful.